Yep.
Oh, wait.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, what's that? No, not. All right. Just one thing I gotta set so I can read the live chat as it happens. All right, guys. Welcome back. This is podcast number 16. I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
Yeah. So, this is our first post-holiday podcast after our week break that we take at the end of every season, but also, every Christmas, because there's that week between Christmas and New Year's where you're in a constant fog of not really knowing what to do or having anything to do. Just chilling here, drinking some
Shackleton whiskey from a good friend, Matt Walsh. So thank you so much, Matt, for this.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in Rochester this week because I got snowed in there visiting my friend Allison, and she had a friend named Tom who has a Honda Odyssey with a Prelude transmission that is modeled after the Ninja Turtles van.
Okay.
And it has a Katana shifter.
Nice.
And no, it was super cool, and it was very I don't know, it like obviously in that weather, like you're not going to be tearing it up, but it was kind of the shifting was so subtle, because going from first to second is fine, but going from second to third, you're almost going like directly straight back up. There were a couple times where I was downshifting, where I was shifting and just going to third. It's like, dude, you're in first. I'm like, oh, well, but it wasn't as janky as I was expecting it to be.
Okay.
I mean, I think I kind of expected it to be this, bucket of bolts sort of being held together. But it was much, much nicer than that.
Yeah.
Which is funny considering this is a Lemons Rally car. So it was it was a van, so he had a sort of unlimited budget on it. Like I saw his spreadsheet of his costs, and it was kind of he didn't have to adhere to that like whole $500 limit. But I imagine he would have to give up some kind of like penalty or the fact that he showed up in something Japanese. But anyway, like he invited me to the rally, but I couldn't go because we'll be in New Zealand,
right?
Which is fast approaching.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
3 weeks. We have the Auckland filming location found, or at least the general area for it. It's not going to be in the city of Auckland. It's going to be east of Auckland, in a little community. Hopefully we'll get like an Airbnb or something like that to serve as our base of operations. I have to talk to Caswell and Andrew. Then our Auckland filming location, probably, I'm guessing, is going to be the Camshaft studio. Or wherever our starting point is for the 4 cars we film down in Auckland.
Yeah. I
mean, Wellington.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get another Airbnb out probably near Carterton or Masterton for the part where we get to Juliet's farm. So there's going to be 3 filming locations. I don't know if we're doing the smoking tire coming or going. I haven't heard from Matt, but we'll find that out.
Yeah.
Apart from that, that's it. All cars are now selected. We will have an RCR meet at Leadfoot Festival for the Auckland area, and another RCR meet at Hyde Park near Wellington. So those are going to be our 2 RCR meets. It's going to be easier to do because we're already at a car show, and just say, hey, meet us here.
Yeah, let's hang out
at the car show.
Yeah.
We could talk about Star Wars, but for the people who haven't seen it, I want to respect your spoilers and your movie experience. So we're really not going to talk about it.
Yeah. Did you see the Holmes Cyborg fight? Holly Holm.
That was this weekend?
Yeah, it was on Saturday.
I didn't see it. You can spoil it. Let me know.
Cyborg won by
man.
decision.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
it wasn't,
right.
she didn't get, like, the home didn't get knocked out or anything. Although, she was kind of taken apart on which is funny, like, she was taken apart on the feet, which normally Holly Holm, like, she's a kickboxer. This shouldn't be happening. But Chris Cyborg's game is pretty tight in terms of, like, she was just sort of, like, she was letting Holm get her in the clinch and tire herself out, which is a really good strategy if you're an endurance fighter, if you're somebody who can sort of, make people, if you can absorb punishment, basically. Okay. And it was kind of this thing where, you get this fighter who should be better in this situation than she is, sort of getting winded. And it was just, the scores were pretty flatly in favor of Cyborg, although there were some judges who kind of gave, I don't know, there were some rounds that were closer than they had any business being. Okay. Same with sort of the Edson Barbosa Khabib Nurmagomedov fight, which, I mean, now I just want to see Khabib get at Conor. Yeah. Just because, well, it was a performance where, because Edson Barbosa is no slouch, but Khabib just sort of lit his ass up, and it was really interesting. But yeah, I do have a weird shaped head. It's weird. Like, when I was born, sorry, because I'm reading the chat. Okay. Which, because they were like, Roman has a weird shaped head, which I'll be the first person to fucking tell people that. Because, it's like a weird thing. It runs in my family. Like, when I was born, we were all like C-section babies, because our heads were too freaking huge. But I was the only one who had to have his, head weighed to make sure that I didn't have like shitloads of water in it, or that I didn't have some tumor, or that death wasn't in my immediate future. Right. Which is a line I use, I think, in the New York Comic-Con thing.
Death wasn't in his immediate future.
Yeah. Well, 32 years later, and here I am. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird. Oh, before I forget, Allison gave these chocolates from New Zealand.
Thomas Witherspoon asks, "How is the whiskey?" Whiskey is very nice. It's a nice sipping whiskey. I'm drinking it out of a coffee mug.
Yeah, I mean, what's a good mixer for whiskey?
You don't mix this whiskey. Yeah, you don't. This is taking it easy whiskey. If you have crap whiskey, Canadian Club. Well, then just make yourself a whiskey sour and mix it to taste.
Yeah, I had a whiskey sour for New Year's. It was very nice. Yeah.
Have to remember I have these mics potted up a little bit, and I'm trying to just adjust them as I sit forward and back. All right. So we're eating New Zealand chocolates. Do we have a name brand for these?
Devonport.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Vintage Kiwiana, milk chocolate and kiwi fruit. I don't know. I kind of thought I would have more to talk about when I got back from Rochester, and then I sat down. I'm like, because I do have I went hanging out with some good car people and good people in general, but I'm just kind of, it almost like went by in a blur, weird blur. But then again, that's kind of most of plans to come to New York State. I mean, I was in New York State this weekend. And I would have made a video out of the Ninja Turtle van, except I completely forgot my GoPro. Oh, okay. Like a friggin' genius. I packed literally everything but my GoPro. And so I just sat, did some writing, and that was kind of, because this, it's small and it's nice, and I take it everywhere because it's kind of I don't know, it's what I do, but you get looked at strangely when you're doing it. Yeah. I went on New Year's Eve, I was downstairs in this one bar during a Titanic themed New Year's party where everyone dressed up very nicely. And it was kind of thing where I was getting weird looks from people because I was writing, and then people sort of saying like shitty things to me. Like that part of it wasn't good. It was, I don't know what kind of compels people to be lousy, you know, but I mean, well, one person thought they were doing me a favor and they really weren't, but the
what, just giving you crap for writing in public?
Yeah, and other things that, you know, it is what it is. I don't really think, or I try not to think too much about it, but by the end of the night I was like weirdly upset, and then the next day like I felt silly for feeling so upset about it. But I don't know what it is about New Year's that causes emotions to run high. I think it's because I was used to spending so many of them alone. And so the idea of like actually being with people on New Year's is you know, kind of alien and foreign. Like normally I'm with my like guys from back home, and we even had that one New Year's where we were hanging out. Yeah. But normally it's this isolated thing where it's just another night out with the guys. Like this one, it was kind of different in that it was an actual, like I had somewhere to be and I was going somewhere, and you know, it's just strange, you know, when you have a place to actually be.
Uncreative Name says, when will RCR return to Texas? We've never been there. We're probably going to be there in April. Going to Austin, hopefully get on a racetrack there. My first track time ever. So that's the plan. That's the next kind of trip after New Zealand is going to be RCR Texas. Robbie94LS says, are you guys mixing drinks at 2:30 p.m.? We're not mixing them. We're drinking them straight.
Yeah.
We're drinking them neat.
Neat.
Yeah. What about Nashville? Last time I was in Nashville was when I bought the Falcon.
What did you think of Nashville?
I liked the hotel. It was just, I went to the Hilton Garden Inn, bought the Falcon, went to Joseph Rini's house, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't hang out downtown Nashville. I mean, I saw some sights on the way out. Like, oh, I thought the Grand Ole Opry was like this little thing and didn't know that it was an institution. No.
Well, I think part of the thing with Nashville is that you kind of have to... That's one of those places where, like, if we were to go there, we'd have to set aside time to actually do Nashville.
Yeah.
Because, you know, yeah, if you love music, it's great, but it's also just this, and this is like anecdotal experience from people who've vacationed there.
Yeah.
That it's just this city that sort of, it's not like any, it's just weird, like in a good weird of just, you've almost stepped into like another country.
Almost. Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I hear good things about it, so I can't really complain. What is your favorite irregular car from Happy Time Cyanide? It's like a LeBaron an irregular car. There
we go. Now I can see. I'm making the live chat big enough so I can read it from back here.
Oh, it's Dieter saying to come to the Lemons race when they run the Turtle Van, because he was one of the friends that I visited in Rochester. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to be in New Zealand. Although, actually, no, I think he's talking about the one in May, which is in New Jersey. So, like, I might go to that one. But yeah, it's kind of it's touch and go because I have no idea what's happening after New Zealand other than Texas.
Right.
And I never like plan beyond whatever the next trip is.
Me neither. Yeah.
Like, I don't like making plans because I feel like I'm destined to disappoint. But yeah, it's nice to kind of not really, you know, have anything to think about, really. I just sort of veg out.
It would be nice to come back. See, we're going to return at the end of February, and I still want to ski.
Yeah.
I'm skiing tomorrow. This is going to be my first day out this season, going to Blue Mountain ski area, which is my home slope, and come down to Florida to escape the winter. You know what? I like this polar vortex. I'm enjoying it being 10 degrees out.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but it feels like winter when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I know we're supposed to get another big vortex sometimes next week, but that's really only hitting the coast, like New Jersey, Long Island, New York City. We're not going to get much of it. I mean, we'll get like an inch of snow. Ooh.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is all the snow we have out there is from last week. It just hasn't melted because it hasn't gotten above freezing.
Yeah.
I
mean, in Rochester, they didn't really want... It got so cold that I was legitimately worried that Betty wasn't going to turn on. And so I was just like, oh, there, that's a girl. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I would sometimes, like, I'm just going to go drive around and, like, you know, I don't know, move oil around or whatever. And went to a Wegmans, and there were teenagers. I sat down with, like, my thing of, you know, the chicken dumplings. Yeah. I just hear like teenagers laughing, and it activates that weird anxiety of like, are they laughing at me? Like, am I doing something? Is there something on my face? And it wouldn't have bugged me except that they were like very close,
right?
And they were also like they weren't whispering, but they were talking in low tones. I'm just thinking like, ugh. And so I was just kind of, ugh.
Hendrik Jurin says, who is Betty? Betty is Nick Roman's SN95 Mustang.
Yeah, that's Red Betty. I called it that because, I don't know, I like the song Black Betty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good enough. Hey, if I ever bought a, sorry, I'm walking away. If I ever bought a Grand National, I would have called it Black Betty.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to get gloves because there's something I could be doing while I'm doing the thing that I normally do.
Yeah. Skiing is great. Tyler Newberry says, skiing is great in Colorado. You guys ever coming back? And that's one of those things where, I mean, I had a great time in Colorado hanging at, just hanging around, chilling with your buddy Tom Mansell.
Yeah.
And sort of, you know, just seeing the sights. I mean, last time we were there was like a World Cup game going on and people were losing their minds in the streets.
Yeah.
As I was roaming around. Well, that was at the point where we had split up and I had gone to go, you know, just wander around.
Right.
And I don't know. It was just a lovely place. And what I loved about Denver specifically is that it's exactly what you think it's going to be.
Uh-huh.
Boulder? Huh? Or Boulder. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Boulder. It's exactly what you think it's going to be, in that, like, you're kind of expecting the whole...
Continue.
No, that looks like a hawk glove of just, like, they're going to land.
I'm that guy. I like birds, but I don't... People who own birds... Yeah. I mean, much love to people who want to have birds as pets. But... having a bird takes over your life of the people I've seen who own birds.
Yeah.
This thing isn't meant to live indoors, man. And I get it that some of them are friendly and have some intelligence, but what are you doing with a bird in your house? Oh, it knows where to go to the bathroom? The fuck it does.
It's like that Dimitri Martin bit where only humans would look at a thing that flies and go, I want it.
Yeah.
I'm just...
All right. There were supposed to be liners coming with these gloves, and there's only one of them. Where'd the other one go? Oh, consumerism. Did it fly off over here?
Yeah, maybe it sprouted wings.
Yeah.
Thoughts on manual transmissions after the gears and gasoline but on stick shift?
These things are supposed to come with liners. Where did it go? Is it in my car? This is going to bug me for the rest of the podcast. Where is the other liner from these gloves that I paid $75 for?
Yeah. Who even knows?
That was the whole point of them. Damn it. Am I going back to Buckman's again?
But yeah, thoughts on the manual transmit. It's not going anywhere. Like, that's my thoughts. They're great. They're fun. I mean, realistically, I hope...
Oh, here it is. It was inside the other glove.
Very nice.
The world is right again.
Yeah, gloveception. But it's kind of I don't know. It's just kind of this weird thing where I think there's a lot of paranoia going around about manual transmissions.
So the world is ending. The thing that was is now not.
Yeah. I mean, there almost isn't a reason except that it's fun to do.
Right.
And that's always been the difference, But
I'm rubbing wax into the leather because these gloves come with lube.
Oh, real glove lube. I've never seen this before.
Have you heard of it?
No, I have not. And it's also called Nick Wax, which is, another... That's just on another plane of existence.
Tom says, I work for AAA in Philly and we are not enjoying the cold weather. Nobody replaces their battery. I agree. Bruce Henn and both the guys from Moyer's Car Care say that the second it gets cold, in come all the cars because the batteries don't have that cranking ability. I took my Subaru. I said when I knew the weather was getting cold, I took it to Moyer's it needed an oil change. And I said, yo, just load test the battery. Tell me if the battery's good. And they say, yeah, battery's fine. The Subaru, though, is on cold weather days, you can hear it go, rah, 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 and it always starts, but you can tell it's struggling a little bit. Maybe that's normal for boxer engines. Maybe my starter is going and it needs a new starter. It has 160,000 miles on it. I bought it with like 150 on it. Anyway, get your batteries at Costco. Really?
I really don't know that there's a Costco anywhere near me.
Yeah.
There's like a Sam's Club.
Yeah, down in Temple.
Yeah.
I just get them from Moyer's. They're Deca battery. Because that's what's around here in PA, because the battery factory's over there near Topton. It
legit looks like you're rubbing Texas Roadhouse cinnamon butter into your gloves. Just like, yeah.
It doesn't really have an odor. You know what? It smells like rented video games from 1999.
Ooh.
Regular cars. Talk about people in Washington and they're freaking out because they have to start pumping their own gas. Ha ha.
Yeah. Every time I visit my sister in Jersey, I always find that weird. I specifically get gas while I'm still in PA because I don't like someone pumping my gas for me. Like, I feel like such an asshole. Also because it's freezing out there, and I don't... Like, I don't want to make them come out of their little, like, cubby hole.
Yeah.
It's just... Ugh.
See, the funny thing about pumping your own gas is that in Jersey, we got to pump the gas for you. Yeah, except for you ride a motorcycle. What happens in Jersey is that if you ride a motorcycle, you have to go get gas. You stay on the bike, and they will hand the pump to you and watch you fill it. And the reason they got to do that is because motorcycle tanks are so shallow that if you stick the hose all the way in, it'll think it's full after you've pumped a gallon because what the hose senses is the fumes coming back up the tube, and then it knows to click. But with motorcycle tanks, some of them are so weirdly shaped that the hose doesn't even fit in correctly. And if we were ever in Jersey with the Falcon, I wouldn't let them pump the gas in that either. They just spill it on the ground because you gotta feed that gas in ever so slowly into the Falcon's tank because that tank was designed when pumps look different.
Yeah.
So, and because it has to go in and then make a hard 90 to the right, and modern fuel filler necks don't look like that.
Yeah, it's like when you've jerked off for so long that your dick takes the wrong shape, and now all of a sudden you have like a different girl than the girlfriend you're used to, and you go in at a weird angle.
I haven't had this problem, but continue.
Nah, that was a college problem for me. Yeah, sorry about oversharing, everyone. I mean, I'm not. I don't really care. I'm just chatting with friends.
You were more promiscuous than I was. How many girls I have in college? 3? Was granted the company of.
Yeah, was granted permission because really, women are allowing us access
right
to a place. It's like they're the bouncer and we're just behind the velvet rope the whole time
doing our dance.
Yeah, trying to be like, well, maybe I'll get into the club tonight. I've got my outfit on, I'm ready to go. And no. But yeah, it's kind of
Will you ever talk about the Chevy trucks?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I mean, I was stuck behind a Chevy Colorado on the way here.
Yeah. We got to get a C body. Well, Steve Casensis, does he have one? Or Tim Robinson, Neil Roberts' friend. He has a bunch of C10s. We have an open invite to go down to his place and do a C10 down there. Of course, his trucks are nice. They don't come out in the winter. Not that I would want them to.
Someone asked, why do American cars have such shitty interiors compared to like European? And it's because in the classic American tradition, we don't care what's on the inside doesn't count.
Yeah,
we're all about exteriors and everything.
Right. It was Lincoln. Like, you get into a Cadillac. Well, see, that's early 2000s stuff. There was a time when we cared about interiors, and that time was the late 60s and Cadillac. You get in one of those things, you realize where your money's going. But, yeah, modern stuff, it just isn't there. It's coming back. I mean, they say the new Lincolns are pretty good on the inside. Hopefully we're getting away from the big touchscreens, even though I saw on Jalopnik that there's a new electronic startup that just has a touch screen that spans the entire dash from one side to the other.
It's like they're going in the opposite of the Tesla direction where they had the wraparound, windshield.
Yeah.
Now we're just getting wraparound,
Do you think American-made cars from the mid-'80s, early '90s are becoming rare just because things like cash for junk cars and those? Yeah, they ate up a lot of 90s stuff. Of course, 80s and 90s stuff, the dashes, talk about bad interiors. Those dashes just crack and break up. It's hard to fix those computers. You find a lot of 80s cars, like that one Trans Am we reviewed. The fuel injection systems were just so archaic. It's easier just to slam an Edelbrock or a Holley or like a Demon carburetor on that throttle body fuel injection and call it a life, and honestly, the car will run fine.
Yeah.
So your 80s stuff, it has some worth to the people who think it has some worth, but they're not really going to be timeless. That's the thing with 80s designs. They're very of their period.
Yeah.
Whereas the stuff from 60s and even sometimes from the early 70s, and they have this mass appeal because less is more. You get into 50s cars, especially late 50s cars, like Cadillacs and stuff. That was... The late 50s was an excess period, and the mid-70s was an excess period.
Someone asked if we were making any stops on the way to Texas, which meant to ask, are we driving or flying?
Flying.
Yeah. But,
it'd be fun to drive, but I got American Airlines points that I need to use up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use them.
Air.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think... As long as there's a Philly to Austin direct route. See, if we do that, though, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
We'd have to check bags anyway. Even with the bag fees, it'll be fine.
Thank you, Bilal, for the compliment on the Christmas song. Yeah. I don't know. People were really nice about that.
How much of this should I use?
I don't know. You're really going to town on that glove.
Yeah. Waterproof wax will cover it. We'll convert nutbuck to smooth waxy finish. Made darken leather. I may use like the excess stuff on my shoes.
I mean, you completely nailed the smell.
Yeah.
Like, it is a 90s video game, like, cartridge.
Yeah.
It smells a little bit like Hollywood Video.
Nice.
Which is where
reference.
you go when you don't have a Blockbuster in your area or a mom and pop video store, which I always prefer the mom and pop shop.
Oh, yeah. We had
because they had better selection of old WWF tapes.
Nice.
So, like, I would go there, get Survivor Series 1901. It's the Survivor Series! Where teams of 5 strive to survive! It's just, that type of thing. And I would spend like a whole afternoon watching like really old wrestling stuff with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, daddy. Oh God, I love Dusty Rhodes. Rest in peace. But
did Ric Flair pass away? Is he still alive?
No, he's still alive. He like came so perilously close to dying like a few months ago. Because all of his drinking caught up with him like at once, like slam. Because that guy, I honestly don't know how he's still alive, other than that, like he somehow sort of pickled himself from all the drinking. And when he was world champion, he was going around buying shots for the entire bar, or he would show up because he lived the gimmick. So he would show up with the Four Horsemen, and at the end of the night, he'd be like, every tab that's still open, like put it on mine. Like that type of thing. Of like, if you were lucky enough to be in the bar. Yeah. If you were lucky enough to be in the bar when Ric Flair was coming in to drink. That, and like he'd be on the local TV, and he'd give out like his hotel room number. And, we're staying at the whatever, the Holiday Inn, and he'd stay in a nice place. But and they'd get like tons of people showing up just to like bang these guys. And, it's just one of those weird things where, I don't know. I think there's never going to be anyone like Ric Flair. It was a different era completely. Like, I don't imagine you could really do that now. Guys, apparently, just during the matches, they bring their, Nintendo Switch or whatever and just play video games in the back. Like, they're not going out and, getting blasted and then banging whoever, bangerangs. It's but it's just strange,
Since I didn't follow wrestling as much as you did, what was Ric Flair's gimmick?
That he was he was a very well dressed. It was basically the rich guy gimmick, but
not Ted DiBiase.
But not Ted DiBiase. It was because being rich. Like, Ted DiBiase, his only thing was being rich. Okay. But also being an asshole. Yeah. But Ric Flair, he was rich, but he's also like Mr. Steal Your Girl. Okay. Of like, he didn't brag about having money or just having money. He bragged about, all the people that were, or all the people that he was banging, basically. Space Mountain, it's like the oldest ride with the longest line. He's just, telling fat kids in the front row to shut their mouths, and saying, if a woman booed him, like, you wish I was taking you home, and bragging about his clothes, and then like, this is custom made head to toe. I don't even know what that is. I'd be ashamed to wear it. But yeah, and he was also kind of like this weird Kanye West type thing where he bragged about how good he was and then went in and proved it. Every night. Now, granted, he was like winning by the skin of his teeth, and that was the thing of you go from territory to territory as a traveling world champion, and you make their local guy look really good, so that they think, man, he almost had him. Yeah. And so that next time Ric Flair comes to town to put the belt on the line, everyone buys a ticket because they're like, okay, he almost got him last time, and he's gonna get him this time. And that's a very hard skill to do, to be a world champion who then makes it look as though you're eminently beatable. It's kind of like the Misha Tate thing of like, she was a champion, and instead of like going to the Ronda fight right away, they gave her Amanda Nunes, and everyone knew like she was not winning that fight. Like, she's a very beatable champion. Like, just get your money with the Ronda fight now, and don't, it's just it was very weird. But yeah,
I don't know where I'm going for the Ngannou fight next week.
That's next week already?
Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. It's the weekend before we leave for New Zealand.
I gotta go with Ngannou. After that, but here's the thing: is that he fought so recently, right? And even if you didn't take a lot of damage, like just the camp alone takes so much out of you, and now you're preparing for a new guy who hasn't like fought as recently, right? But then again, you could argue that that's an advantage that Ngannou has in the fact that like he's still in that mentality. His body hasn't really, like, he's still in fight shape, which is not to say Stipe wouldn't be, but it's just incredibly strange to me to immediately go from like that complete highlight reel knockout,
right,
and immediately like he's coming for the title. He's coming for that ass.
He is. Stipe, in his interview on Joe Rogan, said that he didn't talk about the strategy.
Yeah,
but they were talking about how Stipe's, whose last name I cannot pronounce to save my life.
Miocic.
Yeah. Oh, that's
it. It's either Miocic or Miocic.
Okay. He Stipe is a volunteer firefighter and never stopped.
Oh.
Throughout his whole championship career, he has a house he goes to, and all his firefighting buddies just give him shit for being, here's Punchy.
Here's the world champion.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah. So now there's this whole big hometown thing behind Stipe. And also, Stipe has this very good ability to wear fighters out. He's in it for the long haul. And that's something we haven't seen from Ngannou, at least within the UFC. How is he going to be deep into the third round?
Yeah, because Ngannou, he's like out there starching dudes. He's not going 5 rounds.
Yeah.
He's out there, taking lives and, souls from these men.
Stipe has to stay out of the way of Ngannou. He has to play very conservatively for at least the first round and maybe pretty deep into the second.
Yeah.
He needs to conserve his tank and try to get Ngannou to empty his.
Yeah.
I don't know how well Stipe is in the clinch. We haven't seen Ngannou really clinch at all.
Not at all. No,
yeah, he stands and he bangs.
Yeah. Someone asked if I have any picks for the Royal Rumbles on the 28th wrestling thing, because they're doing the first ever women's Royal Rumble. And there's a rumor that like Ronda Rousey might be in it, and I'm like, but why? Because I think they have 19 women on the roster, which leaves them 11 more spots to fill. And it would be kind of crazy not to have some surprises in there of past people and maybe some new ones. So I wouldn't actually, if Ronda won, that would be kind of great. I mean, it's happening like literally the day before we leave for New Zealand, so I'm probably just gonna whatever. But and then the men's Royal Rumble, it's got to be Roman Reigns, right? Just because it's him and Brock at WrestleMania, so he kind of has to win the Rumble.
Right.
Not necessarily, though. I kind of, am feeling Shinsuke Nakamura to win that thing, but I don't know why. It's just this weird feeling that I have, but I don't know. It makes less sense to me as time goes on. I get worse at predicting things, so it is.
Zachary Lewis says, what current automaker do you think is the weakest lineup? Mitsubishi. Sorry, Steph Schrader. But I drive past Mitsubishi dealerships, and it's, a bunch of Mirages that people are going to buy because they just want a piece of transportation. And then the Nissan Murano or something like that, a bunch of crossover SUV nonsense, and maybe some Lancers that are all base model. Great. Going to Mitsubishi these days for a memorable experience is like going to Haas Steakhouse looking for nuance.
Yeah. That's a good line.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Begs the Thief said, this is my first podcast. What's going on?
We just talk.
Right. This is barely about cars.
Yeah, it's actually easier now with the live chat because now I don't... this is a week where, I came in thinking that I had so much to talk about because of all this stuff I did in Rochester. And then I realized it only took 2 minutes to talk about.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't want to talk about my Christmas. Not because it was bad, it's just because nothing really went on. And so, it is what it is.
Connor Holton says, do you have Opel crossovers over there? No, unless there's some rebadged Chevy that I'm not aware is a world vehicle. I might or might not have done donuts, which means you have, with the Boxster and the M3 in Haas's parking lot. Okay.
Oh, Dieter.
Come to Ontario. Yeah, that's like a running gag now with regular car reviews that we still haven't gone to Canada, even though it's only a 6.5 to 7 hour drive north.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will at some point, but also it would be nice to go when it's not snowpocalypse.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine for as cold as it is here, it has to be worse up there.
I suppose. Excuse me, yawning.
But yeah. Let's see.
Montreal this summer. As of now, there are no summer plans. I'm going to be riding my motorcycle a lot. There's the continuing thing where the Falcon needs to have its heating issues addressed that improve with every time we mess with it. The next thing is going to be a cheap fix to put longer bolts in the hood hinges to space up the hood higher, so that the hood will no longer seal in the back, creating a place for hot air to escape the engine bay rather than having to force itself down and out the bottom.
You doing Ford Nationals this summer?
It's a good question. I don't know. I should. I know we're doing Chrysler Nationals, or at least I'm going to do it, because I need to film which Viper is best Viper. And we also need to finish filming that Neon, the Millvale Neon.
Nationals.
It's after Ford. I just look it up.
Yeah, I'll be around for that. I'm never around for Ford Nationals because of my family tradition of going to Philadelphia or Wizard World, Philly, because I always take the kids up there, and we end up I always end up meeting someone there, like a celebrity there, because they want to all right, what's the cheapest celebrity that I can take people to meet? And so, you pay, which is funny because John Cena was there one time and he was just sort of standing there. Yeah. And I was just kind of I should go over and meet John Cena. But then I'm there's a line. Yeah. And I'm looking at him he's there. I'm good. I'm honestly good. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Chrysler Net, is it in Carlisle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Carlisle Fairgrounds. It's a very nice place. And
PR Michael Garland, the PR guy, is always really, really good to us.
Yeah.
I'd really like to get on their autocross track one day when there's nothing going on, where I can actually rip around it a little bit. Maybe I'll ask him that. It's probably the answer is going to be no, because it's going to be an insurance thing. Insurance. Hey, you guys, what cars are you driving in New Zealand? I have the car list. Daniel Hoyle asked that. I have the car list. I'm not going to give away all the cars, but I am going to tell you I'm going to drive a Skyline, and it's going to be a junky Skyline, because everybody else drives a GTR. We're not doing it. We're going to making a point that Skylines are not fast cars, because Skyline doesn't mean GTR. It doesn't mean turbo any more that a BMW 3 Series means an M3. They're not. A regular old BMW 3 Series is faster than an economy car, but that's it.
There was one thing that I was gonna bring up about the holiday, which was I saw the new Dave Chappelle specials on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
because he's back.
Yeah,
and
in POG form.
It was and after watching those specials, I was pretty sure that he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Or one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Because he's such a master storyteller. I'm so jealous of this man's ability to just talk and tell a story that he gives in the second one, which is this really intimate set with a smaller audience in a little small club that he's not even really making jokes. He's just monologuing for most of it. And he ends that show with a story that it's an analogy that explains why he walked away from $50 million on Chappelle's show to do another season. He walked away from it, and it's tied into what it's like to pimp, or what being a pimp is.
Yeah.
And, and ties it into apartheid, about how they resolve that by putting the system on trial rather than the people. Because the people who were committing these atrocities, maybe not as much victims, but they are victims as well. And it's not until you kind of, uproot the system that you get real change. It was just a fascinating special. It was so good. I was just very, impressed with it. But yeah.
So how long is the special?
The first one is an hour and change, and the second one's 45 minutes or something.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very good, well put together specials. I would almost argue they're worth just doing the month trial or however long the Netflix trial is just to watch those, because I think he's one of those storytellers who just sort of has this innate grip on what people sort of need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear.
Right.
And I don't know, he's just a fascinating guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved those specials.
Initial D or Wagon Midnight? I have no idea what you mean, Alan.
Oh, just, you mean like one or the other? Just pick one? I mean,
why are 2-strokes more sensitive to temperature changes than 4-strokes? I never noticed a difference when I had a 2-stroke motorcycle. So I don't know what you're talking about there. And 2-strokes are the king of snowmobiles, so and off-road things and snow sports, and they're always running just fine. What kind of mixer are you mic software using? The one that the mics plug into. People can probably read it down there.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're using so I can tell you why it's wrong. Regular game reviews. I'm not a good guy to talk about video games.
Yeah, if I were like a game streamer, it would be a streaming channel where I'm always dying.
Yeah.
Of like whatever it is, it's like the worst gamer in the world playing a game and just people getting frustrated at like, why are you not better at this?
Yeah.
Like I've been playing games literally since I was like 3 years old, and I have no idea, I'm still just flying out here blind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Regular pet reviews. You did birds, now ferrets. McRiley, we are reviewing a sheep in New Zealand, so we will do that. Well, regular cars, the chat's moving pretty quick again.
Yeah, it is.
I got to put slow mode on something more than 240 seconds. I got to make you guys wait like 500. I got to make you wait almost like 5 minutes between posting stuff because there's so many people on here. When a Land Rover? I don't know. Do you guys have any additional thoughts on BMW E30s? No, we don't.
Not really.
Leave it all on the table.
Yeah. Someone asked if ever watched Bill Burr like stand up on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his podcast, and I love the whole Philadelphia incident, which I'll go back and watch sometimes when I need a good laugh.
Yeah.
Of just, he's
one
really,
bridge having town.
Yeah. He's really giving us what for. It's like, I hope you guys get AIDS and, you get weak while you're walking back to your Mercury Tracer. Just, so great. Give us hell, Bill. But,
thoughts on Goldberg's return as what? As a commentator? Which Goldberg are you talking about?
He's probably talking about the wrestler, because he came back last year, did 3 matches. One of them, and it was all right. Like, it was a fine return, but I don't really need to see it again. Because I just, the answer to making wrestling more interesting isn't bringing back more like old guys. I want new shit. Like, give me more of the people that are actually going to stick around year round, but
if you want to take a bike for a ride in New Zealand, I do. I don't know how much I would be able to review it, but we have no motorcycles set to review in New Zealand, but I do want to ride a bike while I'm down there, although I'd need a hat, gloves, and everything else.
Yeah.
Speaking of bringing old people back for, this is something we can talk about for Star Wars, is if they could bring back, Dennis Larson. Or Lawson.
Lawson? I think it's
Larson or Lawson.
Question. Someone in the chat will know.
Bringing back Dennis Larson, as Wedge Antilles. But the interesting thing is that he's Scottish, and in the movies, he's speaking with an American accent. And in the very first movie, he was overdubbed by somebody else.
Huh. So it's really about like... But you don't necessarily have to get that guy back who dubbed him. Yeah. Because I think like voice acting, you can always find a sound alike. Mm-hmm. Like the guy who did Han Solo in the new Battlefront game.
Yeah.
And yes, I play it. I know it's loot boxes, the devil, but it's, I don't know. I like, Star Wars. So
Alan says, how big is my head? My head is a medium.
My head is actually too big for helmets. I remember there was summer camp, and I had to basically be the camp counselor's helper because they couldn't find a helmet to fit me for activities. Like, they brought in like the adult like helmets. Mm-hmm. They're like, here, try these, and I was like 11 years old, and I was already starting to get like, facial hair and shit because I'm Puerto Rican and you start puberty when you're like 9. It's just random. But yeah, I don't know. Strangely enough, when I go go-karting with my nephew, those helmets actually fit and it's very snug, but whatever. It's, fits.
So if they brought back Wedge Antilles, in my head canon, which thankfully there's a word for that now,
yeah,
they'd bring him back and he'd be speaking with a Scottish accent. And either it wouldn't be addressed or there would be some offhand comment of, "You're not what I thought you to be. No one remembers me like I really was," or something like that.
Did you ever see Walk Hard? The Dewey Cox story?
No.
Because there's a bit where Dewey meets like the Beatles and they're all played by American actors like Jack Black, Paul Rudd, and Jack Black, every line that he speaks as Paul McCartney, he does a different accent. So they're like, "Oh man, we're big fans of you guys. We're big fans of yours too. We'd like to think our Hard Day's Night is our guilty as charged." It's like, why is Paul McCartney like speaking with a Scottish accent or Irish or whatever? It's just so wonderfully random. That's literally my favorite comedy movie of all time. But yeah, that's the Star Wars thing.
Ja Kusa says, question for the Roman, tying it into Star Wars, which I'm going to answer. Like, what if you could review a starfighter from Star Wars? The answer, of course, would be A-Wing.
A-Wing. Yeah. I mean, I would kind of like to have, and I know it's a weirdly sacrilegious thing, but I would love to review like one of the prequel starfighters, like Anakin's one from Revenge of the Sith, that is just kind of like this pod that has the around. But yeah, it's just kind of a very I don't know, it's compact, it's nice. I don't know, Kylo Ren's starship is cool as shit, but yeah, milk is overrated, true or false? I'm just gonna say false because it fights osteoporosis and various other things. I mean, sure, you could take calcium supplements, but who's,
Where would life be without cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that thing where you don't know how much you sort of crave it until you're eating it. I'm not a cereal guy until I am.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, yeah, that's just delightful. I'd also like to know thoughts on the Volvo S60 Inline 5.
I have no thoughts.
Yeah, it's a car. I mean, I sorry it's not more interesting.
Right.
But, I think we spend so much time sort of picking at these things that it kind of dulls the thinking on like cars that are just basically there.
Right.
Like we if we sat around and really thought about it,
we'd come up with
something to say, but at first glance, if we're doing rapid fire, there's not going to be a whole lot to say about it because it's just a car.
Right.
It's just there. But yeah, since you like the Peugeot 206 in the UK, you should look up the 208 GTI. It's a really fun car.
Something that was never brought over here, so
yeah.
Again, people keep asking me about the Grand Tour. It's a show.
Yeah.
It's a scripted.
It's not Top Gear.
No.
I mean, this second season, it feels closer to what Top Gear was, but it's still not the same thing. And I miss the old format.
Yeah.
Because I don't like new Top Gear.
This is going back to, again, Rich Hall and How the West Was Lost. That little BBC thing about American Westerns. But he was talking about Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, how the whole movie was made to cart out all the old Western stars from the 50s and 60s one last time because those people still want to work, but we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And I think the three from Top Gear, they still want to work. So someone cut them a deal
to
keep doing their thing. But in the words of James Burke from Connections. James Burke in Connections talked about how the space program fizzled out in the 80s, and he related it to how they weren't able to sell it to the American people. How many stories are you going to watch when the plot's the same? Yeah, they go to the moon, and they found some stuff, and they brought back some rocks. And even Jeremy Clarkson said during Top Gear, when Top Gear was peaking, they say, well, what really is Top Gear? And he said, it's 4 middle-aged men falling over. That's the show. And they've continued to do it. That's why I want to keep what we're doing continuously changing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as angry and crazy as it was 3 years ago. It will evolve. Regular car reviews will evolve and change as you and I evolve and change.
Yeah. By necessity.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll do new stuff that maybe doesn't belong on a car channel, but kind of fits in the broader spectrum of what it is we do.
Right.
Like, there's no reason that there should be a Christmas song every year. And there's no real reason that there should be, like, diary entries or things about New York Comic Con or, you know, things of, like, here, do something with this drum loop.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe sometimes in your feed you'll get, you know, like, I guess we're reviewing beer now. Like,
yeah.
It's just, that's something that happens, and, you know, it's not really anything that, like, oh, my brand, I have to protect the brand by keeping
my brand!
My brand! Look here with your special eyes. But yeah, and so that's kind of what I like, I get to sort of share things with people.
One guy says, when are you going to do a gun review? It's something I thought about, but the world of reviewing guns on YouTube is huge.
Yeah.
I could do it as a novelty thing, but I don't know what I'm going to be able to cover that hasn't already been done with either Hitchcock 45, who's a gold standard of firearm reviews, FPS Russia, who's the king of just over-the-top nonsense. I don't know quite enough about gun culture to be able to fake it. So I could try, but it may come across forced.
Yeah.
I think if I were to do it, it would be a once and done sort of thing. Just blow my entire load and never revisit it again.
Yeah.
The like, wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, like the whole like Night in the Woods thing. Like that was nice. And you know, that's the thing. We can do random things. It's not really, you know, public bathroom reviews. I mean, like, why not? Yeah, we've already done the weather. So
yeah. I like doing that. I may do that again. Yeah. Me just reading the weather.
Have we chosen the cards for the Austin invasion already?
No.
It'll
probably be whatever Steph Schrader has hanging around and whatever I find from my submissions folder.
Yeah.
That's labeled Austin.
Yeah, and these could be submissions dating back like 3 years.
Could be.
That's why we always say to, you know, put where you live in the subject heading.
Yeah.
And, you know, because if we're going to Texas, you just type in Texas and boom, all of your Texas things are there.
I ought to put that every now and again, put that folder up or that video up that shows you how to submit something. Yeah. Although it hasn't really slowed the submissions ever. So Steph's 944 Lemons car, that'd be fun. I think it'd be loud and falling apart if it's running when we get there. I don't know if she has more than one. She has the red 944 called the Porsche Lump, and she has something else. RCR does a Sheetz taste test. Also, every month. You know, it's Sheetz taste test. We've been over this before. Sheetz is comfort food.
Yeah.
Wawa is palatable food.
Yeah.
And that's how it breaks down.
I mean, because Sheetz, they will literally, like, light your shit up. Because they have, like, well, I don't know if they still have it, but it's a burger that's literally just, you know, a burger, and then they take a fistful of Doritos and put it on top, and they're just like, here you go, nutrition. But yeah, Wawa, you can actually get, you know, mashed potatoes, and I'm sure come out of some kind of box or something, but they're still really good as far as mashed potatoes go.
What about Turkey Hill? Okay, if you're eating at Turkey Hill, you better just be getting the ice cream out of that. Everything out of that is my Sunoco, is like a Sunoco inside.
Yeah.
Turkey Hill's coffee is okay. It's all right. Turkey Hill is a throwback to what gas stations were in the 90s.
Yeah.
They never updated anything. There's no made-to-order anything.
Yeah.
Get your beef jerky, get your Starbucks double shot, and get out.
Yeah, don't get anything from, like, the sandwich case.
No.
Because you don't know... That's just dangerous egg salad.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you're... That and... Most Turkey Hills don't have public restrooms.
Yes.
Which is so weird because, like, if I'm driving, I was coming back from Rochester and I saw Turkey Hill and I really needed to take a leak and wanted to pull over. But I'm like, what are the odds that this is going to be one of the, like, 5 Turkey Hills in the state that actually has a bathroom that the public can use?
Sheetz, I never tried their breakfast sandwiches, but their breakfast sandwiches are 80% of what Wawa's breakfast sandwiches. Unless there was someone in the back who really knew how to make one, it was all right. I was with Tony, not Tony Rumble, but Tony the pilot, and we were at that Sheetz in Birdsboro that we always stop at on the way to Oaks and stuff when we go down filming down there. And I thought, I'm going to try their croissant breakfast sandwich. And it was okay. I may give it another shot. Regular PA Dutch reviews. I thought they had some PA Dutch festival at the Kutztown Fairgrounds. Yeah, they do, but it's dumb.
It's like a flea market.
Yeah, you're paying $20 to go shop.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. Just go to Knoebels. You'll be able to ride roller coasters, eat better food, and have a fun time. You won't have to pay to park.
Yeah.
What about Royal Farms? I've never heard of them.
Yeah, neither have I.
Have either of you been to Cookout? I don't know what that means. Oh, it's California
fast food
stuff.
Burger place exclusive to the Carolinas.
Oh, Carolinas.
Sheetz deserves your second chance.
I just gave him a second chance, and they got a second chance with their breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah. No, I like Sheetz, but I've kind of like converted to Team Wawa just on principle alone.
Yeah.
Because I feel, ultimately it comes down to what it is you're looking for in, gas stations. Of like, do you want their coffee game to be on point, or are you more of a food man?
Right.
Royal Farms is Baltimore. Favorite book?
We've been over this.
We have. Yeah. Mine is East of Eden. So
mine is Sister Carrie.
Nice. Ever had taco soup? I have not.
No. What is that? Just pile of meat in a bowl with broth on it?
Broth.
What is your new daily driver? If you don't know, find out.
Yeah.
Mercedes E2020, something for you. Forget about that. Thanks for the show. I've enjoyed it for years. Have a great new year. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Just, John, how early in the morning do you have to be up to get that name?
Yeah. We've been going for an hour now. We could go to questions that were on the
subreddit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Identify bots. Oh, whoops. Let's see. See, this is like I'm the opposite of efficient.
Mm-hmm. Why are all the new cars terrible? Sheetz and Wawa have nothing on Buckkeens, something. Got a Maserati bi-turbo for you. Something else. There's a World Horse Expo in PA. I don't like horses.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna make regular cigar reviews? No. Occasionally, if I'm with my friend Matt, the same guy who got us this, there we go. The same guy who got us the whiskey, or my friend Len, I maybe won't have a cigar. But the thing about cigars is that you just taste them for the rest of the day. So I really don't have an opinion on cigars. It's better than lighting a $5 bill on fire and watching it burn. So that's because that's pretty much what you're doing.
So from the subreddit, you've mentioned Barenaked Ladies a few times. Brian, what is your favorite Barenaked Ladies album?
Stunt.
And have you listened to anything they've done since Stephen Page left?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to anything he made past when Stephen Page left. You know, there's that weirdly ominous song where they did Thanks, That Was Fun. Don't forget No Regrets, which was probably a breakup song, but the way it's filmed, it's like maybe on some level they knew that Steven was just getting tired of doing this.
Yeah. I mean, and if you think about it, like, they've made their money. Like, you kind of don't have to anymore.
They've been doing it for almost 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. And what's funny is, like, their peak was 20 years ago.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy that you hit your peak, but you keep going for like the next. And I mean, some people would love to be lucky enough to kind of build a career that sustains you for that long. But it's very much, I don't know. Like, Stun is one of my favorite albums in the 90s, full stop. Never mind Barenaked Ladies.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
Ben says, why do Toyota Echoes last for 250,000 miles? There's nothing to break. It's a simple engine. What's the best way to keep a component of the car from not breaking? Don't include it. I had one. I miss it. Maybe someday I'll buy one to just have it, to have another thing. It's not a great car. I mean, imagine if the Mitsubishi Mirage had a little bit more power, revved a lot better, and was way better made. I mean, the interior was kind of falling apart a little bit, but gosh, that engine was a dream. They had a lot of metal gaskets in there that didn't leak. They kept a lot of as much mechanical components as they could, mechanical throttle, stuff that could be repaired really easily. If I would buy another car, it would be something new enough. Because occasionally it wasn't in the chat, but people said, "Oh, you sold the MR2. What are you going to buy next?" And the answer is nothing. I don't really need 3 cars because I'm always taking them to the garage. I'm like, well, one needs an oil change. Oh, do the oil change yourself, dude. The amount of time, it's not worth my time to change my own oil. I know how to do it, but I can take it to Moyer's and go right. Or do something else.
The only way having the only way having that many cars makes sense is if you have that FU Conor McGregor money. Yeah. Where you're just like,
I almost wish like I could have just had a guy to go take them to the garage for me. Yeah. Because now I got to go. I got to call somebody. I got to bring it back. I ask my parents for a ride. Or I found out I can use Lyft, even though my iPhone 5 isn't hooked up. As long as I just stay in a place where I'm connected to Wi-Fi, it works. I used it once at the Dunkin' Donuts in Hamburg when I dropped off the MR2, and I'm like, crap, how am I getting back? Yeah. Downloaded Lyft, just connected it to PayPal, press request Lyft, and someone came from Kutztown.
Oh, very nice.
Right? To Hamburg to drive me back home.
Oh, well, that's nice. I mean, it is their job, but, you know.
Which made me think around here, there aren't a whole lot of Lyft drivers. I'm not doing much. My Subaru's an 04, which is at the limit, the very last year of what you're allowed to have in PA as a car. Yeah. So I ordered a SIM card from Turo. Hopefully I can activate that iPhone 5 that could use. And that could be something to... Someone says Uber is better. I won't use Uber on principle. I mean, if we have to use it, we have to use it.
I used Uber on New Year's. They were in the middle of surge pricing, so the ride to get home, which is a 17-minute drive, was $54. Ouch. So it was kind of... But, I mean, like, what am I going to do? Not get back to Allison's house? And it's like, you know, that, and it's just... What I like that the driver... You know, he was really chill about everything. Mm-hmm. You know, I've never had a bad experience with it. Like, I don't know. I wish I was strong enough to stand on ceremony with principles, but I'm just not.
Well, when push comes to shove. But my friend Tom said that, look, most Lyft drivers are also Uber drivers. Yeah. Uber drivers. So, anyway... if last year, 2017, a few days ago, on Lyft's website, you could drive in PA with a car from '04. Whether they upped all the numbers as the year went on, and so now I'd have to have an '05, then I couldn't drive for Lyft.
Yeah.
So, would I want to buy a car just to have something else to do?
Yeah.
Because that's why I would drive for Lyft, not to make money.
Just people.
Yeah. Because I've been doing it for free in the Falcon. Just picking up people on the trail. Hey RCR, what are your thoughts on fake engine noises that we haven't talked about in the thing? We already talked about that in the Volkswagen GTI review.
This question from the subreddit is, are y'all familiar with any of Pennsylvania's heritage railroads, East Broad Top, Strasburg Railroad, etc.? Funnily enough, I took my niece and nephews to Strasburg Railroad back in September because they were doing a Thomas the Tank Engine thing where they have like the actual, thing there. And I got recognized by one of the conductors, and so he upgraded like all of us to like the front, box.
What did he say? What did he say?
It was just kind of like, are you Roman from Regular? I'm like, yeah. He was really cool about it.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with him now on Facebook, and a guy named Alex. Alex. Yeah. Nice guy. And he was really cool about everything. I generally find like when people recognize me, they just immediately want to get out of my hair. Which is really nice. Because, like, I don't mind talking, with people, but I think we're lucky in that we kind of have a respectful fan base in that they kind of have some of the same anxieties that I would have of like, oh no, I'm imposing. Oh no, they're it's gonna be it's like the countdown clock before they tell me to fuck off. That type of thing. So yeah.
I get what you mean. So many other YouTubers play a character of themselves.
Yeah.
And are so deeply, they're drowning in their own hype and their own brand that they can't turn it off anymore. Like that Roger Paul or Aaron Paul, the guy who made that cemetery suicide thing.
Oh, Logan Paul.
Yeah. And when you get deep into yourself and for...
I don't know. That guy sucks.
Forklift drivers say it's when you think your shit doesn't stink. Much love to forklift drivers. You're making a great living and we all need you. I just picked something that, like a job that is so specific and so, that has never got the recognition of how labor intensive it is, that when you work it, you have no time to sugarcoat anything with colleagues.
Yeah.
So I just pictured a forklift driver saying, well, he thinks his shit doesn't stink, so that's why he did that.
What's the secret to turning a car on when it's as cold as this? I don't know, prayer?
What do you mean? I mean, the secret is to have enough coolant. It has to have at least 50-50 in there. Water to glycol. Don't fill your car with water. I know that's amateur hour, but fill your car with water. Fill the radio with water. Justin Kramer posted on Facebook and said, well, I had my first car come in that was frozen because somebody topped off their, I need more coolant. And they put water. The reason that coolant in there is that it's supposed to keep the liquid from freezing.
Yeah, like why would you ever do that?
Because back in the day, it's too cold. We just fill the cars with water. It works just as well. Yeah, in the summer. And even then you're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
Because it lowers the boiling point or boiling temperature. I was going to be talking about something else. I forget. Oh yeah. I got recognized at the Yingling Brewery, taking a tour with Matt Walsh, same guy, whiskey guy. And this guy came up in the tasting room, which is now in the ice cream place that they opened across the street. And a guy came up to me and says, excuse me, are you Mr. Regular? And I said, yes. I kind of like being recognized because I go extra deep on the voice.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Nice to meet you. How you doing? It's that. Like, oh, I just wanted to say how much I liked it. And then I'll hang around for a little bit. It's like, hey, someone else I can talk to who is also weird. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Matt and I talked for a little bit. And then was that, no, would you guys come to West Virginia to review a car? If our plans, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
Do you think is Toyota's returning to its enthusiast days with the new Corolla? Unless there's a turbo on it, I don't know.
I really don't think.
I mean, you can find a way to lighten the car up, give it a 5 or 6 speed manual, and let it rev out. That's really all Toyota ever did.
Yeah.
It's just made little high revving engines that love to be beat on.
This person asks, you frequently say that your first draft of any paper is crap, so do you think assessments such as the SAT and AP exams put students at an unfair advantage of a timed first draft to assess their writing skills?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of the problem with education today in general, in that you're teaching to a test.
Yeah.
And they don't really care that you learn anything, they just care that you retain shit. And that's always been my problem with, even when I was tutoring and doing like a writing like class at the Reading School District and sort of explaining like this is what writing is. And it was mostly like ESL, so you have to teach like the most basic foundation of what writing a paper is, like the whole intro paragraph, three paragraphs of body, and then a conclusion, which basically restates, in conclusion. And I'm trying to prepare these kids for college at some point, realizing that if they go there, they're going to have to do this whole paper thing and expand it, just exponentially, because even if they're going to like rack, you still have like a shitload of papers to write. And for some people, like, writing just doesn't come naturally, the same way math doesn't come naturally to me.
Exactly.
And I don't know how to like give that to people. The only thing that I can say is like read good writing, and the more good writing you read, the better you'll get at it. But the problem is that good writing doesn't always adhere to a format, like a Cormac McCarthy novel. Amazing, wonderfully vivid and detailed writing, but he doesn't use punctuation. Like, it's like just...
Neither does Joyce.
Yeah, and that's great writing too. But it's great writing in a different way, in that it's almost impenetrable in a certain, manner of speaking. But
what do you think of the new Star Trek? How many times do you have to wreck the Enterprise?
I don't know. Like, I have
every new Star Trek, the Enterprise is gonna wreck again.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. And now apparently Quentin Tarantino is making a Star Trek movie.
Why not?
Which, I mean, yeah, it's just...
Why the fuck not?
But he's not writing it. He's just directing it. I would rather he wrote it and not directed it.
Yes.
Just because I want to see what, like, a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek script is like. You
gotta have the trunk shot.
Yeah. Well, why are you giving it... Why do you gotta rub a Romulan's feet, man? Why is his wife? How you gonna, give her a foot massage? I don't know.
I don't tickle or nothing.
Yeah. Just, it's... I don't know. I would love a Deep Space Nine movie, because I still watch Deep Space Nine. That's my thing right there. I literally have watched no other Star Trek series but Deep Space Nine.
Huh.
But yeah. I am on acid right now. Very nice.
No, you're not.
I mean, I would think if you were on acid, you'd be, like, too strung out to say as much. But then again, I've never been on acid, so I have no idea what it's like.
For people who are listening on this podcast, I have a glass full of ice and was once frozen strawberries, and this thing used to be filled with water. This is how I drink fruit juice now. I buy frozen fruit because it's like $2.
Yeah.
I drop a few into a glass with ice cubes, and then I just fill it with water. And I can get like 3 glasses out of it. This is such miserly crap. I can get 3 glasses of fruit juice for the price of like 18 cents worth of fruit. It's amazing, and probably way better because you're not drinking sugar. So
yeah, well, I mean, you're on that DoubleTree game of like you walk in and have the yeah.
That's that. It's just the DoubleTree lobby water.
Yeah, it's just very There's nothing wrong with that. And then once you're like done with it, you get like a treat at the end of it.
You get a treat at the end of it.
The fruit is like softened now.
Yeah,
and, you're getting your serving in. Which I should probably start doing that now.
Mr. Regular Wine, how did you come up with the put me in, coach? I'm ready to play. Well, I didn't do the last part. That's just me saying a line from... Oh, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Look at me. I can be center field. What's that freaking song?
I don't know.
It's the one guy from Creedence Clearwater after they lost all the rights to the songs, right?
All I know is that
Fogerty? Is it John Fogerty? Oh, there goes an ice cube.
I do remember that you sang like Back in the High Life Again.
Yeah, but Steve Winwood.
Yeah. In the high life again. Oh, John Fogerty. There we go.
John Fogerty.
Center field, John Fogerty.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's a happy song that's about nothing but playing baseball. I can't play baseball, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah, no, I can't play baseball to save my life either. But then again, like I can't do anything athletic. And I'm trying to change that. Like I joined a gym for no reason other than that. Like I ran into a friend at the bar. She had a free week card and she gave it to me. And so I went, liked it, decided to sign up. Mm-hmm. And that was it. But I was pretty sure I was going to die by the end of it. Just because I'm kind of, it's been a while and
It's been a while. Since
I
fucked the fuck. It's been a while.
I can still remember just the way you taste. It's just, oh God, whatever happened.
Daddy's got a band.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. There's so much just random music from like the last, 20 years that I'm wondering like how was any of that popular?
Yeah.
Because that was a hit song. That was just kind of, But then again, I look at like what we allow to be hits now, and it's.
What's the worst classic muscle car? You're gonna think this is sacrilege, but it is a Mustang, and it's the Mach 1. I sat in one of those things with like 1971 Mach 1, maybe 1970 or maybe 68. Man, that car was a vision of the non-visibility future. Couldn't see out the back of that. I mean, it had the dimensions of a Jeep Wrangler in that you're closer to the rear wheels than you are to the front wheels on this thing. That was the car that Iacocca talked about as one of the reasons why they made the Mustang 2 and made the Mustang smaller again, like the bad Mustang.
Like the redheaded stepchild of the Mustang line.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the Mustang had gotten so huge.
Yeah.
By the end of it, it stopped being what it was.
Yeah. I love Mustangs, but I'm under no delusion that they're kind of like the be-all, end-all of muscle cars. Mm-hmm. They have character, and that's what I kind of like about them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been at this for almost an hour and a half. So we're going to wrap this up. We did questions from the Reddit. Thank you so much to everybody from Patreon who allows us to do this and allows us to travel. New Zealand in 3 weeks. We'll probably be doing like 2 more of these things. And maybe we'll try to get some sort of podcast going on in New Zealand. I heard the internet isn't that great down there. Who knows? But definitely journals coming. And journals from New Zealand is going to be very good. Yeah. So until next week.
Until next week, I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
Have a good week.
You too. Bye. Stop streaming.